皆さんこんにちは、HigeSanです。今回は大事ニュースのことを話したいです。So I'm sure you guys have heard that the borders will be open for tourists starting next month. And recently an article just released explaining the details, and I thought it would be a good chance to sit down and talk a little bit about the article with you guys and get your thoughts and opinions of what kind of things are going to be taking place and what things are going to be changing in terms of restrictions and all that stuff. 多分全部英語で調べます。So if we take a look at this article here, basically it says Japan to reopen to independent travelers and lift daily arrival cap. And pretty much Kishida-san is the one who pretty much made the announcement. And if we look here, it's a nice picture of the shrine in Asakusa. Very popular. Let's go down here and let's take a look at what this says. So it says here that Japan will allow visa-free independent tourism and abolish its daily arrival cap as of October 11th. So before there was a daily cap, I believe at about 50,000 people, I believe it was per day. I'm not too entirely sure. But when I was reading that, I was thinking, maybe the cap would have been a good thing, because I think it would be a little bit too much if they just allow everybody to come in at the same time. Because in Japan, we are still pretty much taking care of the stuff from the pandemic. As you know, we're all wearing masks and everybody's still being very careful. But when it comes to letting tourists come back into the country at no cap, that pretty much gives everybody free reign to do whatever they want. And this is going to make it difficult for them to control if anything happens. Because as you guys may be aware, in pretty much Western countries, and not even Western, I think maybe in all other countries, they no longer have these restrictions. So people don't have masks. People just can walk around freely with no masks. And here in Japan, we still have to wear masks indoors, like in stores or restaurants before we order. And if you ask me, I don't think that's going to go very well with tourists, because there's going to be people that still follow it. But of course, there's going to be people that are not going to want to abide by these rules. So it's just going to make some people feel a little uncomfortable. And having this kind of happen will be a little bit difficult for everybody to adjust. And if we look here, it says that the government will also launch a nationwide travel discount program, which I think is a very good thing for travelers, because it'll give them a reason to come back to Japan. But I mean, honestly, people would still come back to Japan regardless. If you ask me, there's a lot of people that want to come back to Japan. So even if Japan didn't offer a discount program, I still think people would still come even without it. People have been waiting pretty much 2.5 years, 3 years, I don't remember, just 2.5 years in the article, but such a long time to come back. So I think this wasn't necessary, but it's a really good plan to kind of get people to come back. So, but I still agree with this. Discount travel program is gonna cover our discounts for travels, entry to theme parks, sporting events, and concerts that are gonna start on October 11th. Like I said, this is a very good thing. It's gonna give people the incentive to do more things in Japan, want to come here. They're pretty much really welcoming tourists right now. They're putting all of these, like programs and ways to help people to come to Japan. And I think it's a really good thing that the government is doing to try to bring up the economy. And I saw this one right here. So this one, I think it's a little bit too much. It says the program offers financial assistance up to 1,200 yen, which is about $77 per person for one night stay. So this one here, honestly, it got me thinking a little bit because I understand that they want tourists to come, But I think this is a little bit, in the gray area because people can pay for their own stay. I have no idea where the money from is gonna come to pay for this. I think you guys probably know where it's gonna come. And if people can't afford a trip to Japan, they can afford a one night stay for a hotel on their own. I mean, I did it when I came to Japan. Was it like 4 times by myself? It was no problem. Is already making such a very big kind of welcome package for tourists that I think this one is a little bit, but you can let me know in the comments what you think about this one. But moving on, this is also another very important piece. People who have been vaccinated 3 times or submit a negative test result will be eligible for discounts according to the report. And also, I believe that this is still gonna also take place for people to come to Japan as well. If we look here, it says that tourists will need to be vaccinated 3 times or submit a negative COVID-19 test result ahead of their trip. So this is going to be a very big thing for foreigners because some people don't want to get vaccinated. Some people can't get vaccinated for personal reasons, or maybe they just don't want to take the test or anything. But this is something that I saw a lot on social media, pretty much on Twitter and all that stuff. People pretty much complaining about these kinds of restrictions, like why do they have to show proof of this and so on and so forth. So I don't know how tourists are going to feel about this, but things may still change up to October 11th. So maybe they're going to take away this restriction if it becomes looked down too much, but I'm not too entirely sure. And pretty much everything else here is just talking about like past like border restrictions and all that stuff, pretty much giving us the timeline up to now. And so that about does it for this article. So what are my thoughts? Pretty much I'm very happy that they're gonna open borders because Japan needs to open its borders. I feel the way that they're opening it, I don't really fully agree with it. I was kind of hoping they would still have a little bit of a cap because having everybody just come in is going to be a little bit much, especially since Japan has been closed for such a long time. I feel like just the influx of people coming in is going to be a little too much, and if something happens, the government's going to have trouble controlling it. And I don't know how they're going to be dealing with that. And, another reason why I think opening the borders is a very good thing is because, as you guys know, I'm from America. So the yen being weak as it is not a very good thing for me personally. So I'm really hoping that the economy will go up as a result of Japan opening its borders. And not also because of my case, for foreigners living in Japan, but also for foreigners that want to travel outside. So everybody else who's like studying abroad, or parents sending money to their kids who are studying abroad, people traveling, it must be very difficult right now because they have to pretty much pay a lot extra to support whoever they're supporting overseas, or if someone's traveling, it must be very difficult financially. So I'm hoping that with this, the economy will be able to come back up. And as for the restrictions, I think it's going to take some time to get used to. I don't know exactly how it's going to be. As you guys know, people still use masks here. I can already foresee many tourists not using masks. And I feel like when I'm on the train, I'm going to be seeing maybe some people kind of, being a little bit hesitant, and I just don't want to see any negativity grow from this. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. The trains are going to be busy again. 本当に電車混んでるになります。悲しい。まあ、しょうがないですね。But please tell me, everybody, your opinions. What do you think about this? Tell me what things you like, you don't like. みんなの意見本当に知りたい。コメントで教えてください。全部英語でごめんなさい。説明日本語でまだ難しいけど 頑張りました。皆さん見てくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録してください。次のビデオで会いましょう。またね。